Hi everyone, Alexandra Jarrett, Jupiter Returns here with your weekly astrology forecast for the week of the 20th to the 26th of July 2020. Really important week, and we start the week fully in the comforting arms somewhat of the moon in her home sign of Cancer. We're actually going to be having the second Cancer new moon today. The moon will be meeting up with the sun at the 28th degree of Cancer. So find that in your chart. Where does Cancer occupy in your chart? What's the house that we are creating this brand new start? And it's really, from what I can see in the astrology, a very powerful new start. And that's emphasized by the opposition aspect to Saturn. It's actually exact. So Saturn at 28 degrees of Capricorn, and the sun and moon together, creating this blank canvas in the sky. We don't see any of the moon's reflection of the sun's light in our sky. At the new moon, it's a completely blank canvas. So essentially the time leading into the new moon is a time when we're releasing and making space. You know, we're rubbing out whatever it was that was on that kind of that chalkboard or that canvas previously, and making room for something new to take its place. That's the whole point. It's this most fertile point of, you know, the divine feminine moon energy, the yin energy, and the divine masculine solar energy coming together and saying, let's birth something new. And what better sign for that to take place in than Cancer, you know, the sign of the mother, the sign of nurturing and parenting. So you may be experiencing themes around those kinds of things anyway. The opposition to Saturn is really, it's drawing us into understanding essentially the seriousness of this opportunity, this point in time. Saturn is just completing his work in the sign of Capricorn. So if Saturn's been creating a major transit for you in Capricorn, have you been having your Saturn return, second Saturn return, you know, anything like this, if there's been an important Saturn transit going on, really this is where we're wrapping things up and bringing things to a close. So not only are we coming to the end of the lunar cycle as I speak, in that respect, we're also kind of wrapping things up from the perspective of Saturn's work in Capricorn. And so this exact opposition really is tuning us into saying, you know, this is quite serious, this is quite important work. There's a sense of heaviness to that. And we must avoid the temptation to kind of judge the serious, heavy kind of feeling that it gives us. Often when there's an aspect like this between the moon, which is our soft, sensitive emotions, we can get quite easily triggered with the moon. When it's in a hard aspect to Saturn like this, it can really make us feel pessimistic. It can make us feel lonely and isolated. There's a kind of a solitary influence that Saturn has on our emotional state. It can make us want to withdraw, or it can make us feel withdrawn where we perhaps don't want to be. Like we are lonely and we can't feel connected enough to other people. We can't feel held and supported and nourished and nurtured. And this is a feeling that on the whole, you know, generally people don't like. You know, we don't like to feel, quote, bad. We don't like this heavy, hard, difficult feeling. But this is a wonderful opportunity, essentially, to identify and take responsibility, therefore, create a new structure for how we can deal with those feelings. This is essentially, you know, this is Capricorn, an earth sign, and Saturn is saying that let's get real about how we feel, okay? And this isn't just as individuals, this is on the collective. Let's get real about this. Let's stop pretending that as long as we all say have a nice day and put a smile on things, that's somehow going to create a more authentic and robust, environment for us all to grow in. We're all growing. We're all the children of God. We're all the children of the universe. You know, we may be what is considered to be adults in human terms, but we're constantly learning and we're constantly growing. And Saturn helps us to do that. He helps to bring in sort of, it's like the mother Cancer and the father Capricorn. We need both sides. We need Saturn's discipline. We need dad energy to say, you know, cuddle time is over, you know, it's nice, fluffy time is over. We also have to brush our teeth before we go to bed, and we also have to remember to do our homework and all of these things as well. And they're just as important, okay? So, and it's okay, therefore, that we have some hard feelings. That's part of life, and we can't sort of gloss over those. We're doing ourselves a huge disservice when we gloss over those. So when we have these aspects that can provoke these feelings within us, it's drawing our attention to this part of the self that needs some parenting. Okay, we're dealing with mom and dad here. What part of you needs a little bit more parenting? The moon in astrology is often referred to as kind of the subconscious, like the software program that we're all running. It's kind of like how we've been brought up. What was our upbringing? What was our family life like? And how did that kind of conditioning, that emotional conditioning, how did the influence of that background shape how our emotional reactions are to life right now? And it's at times like this when we can say, actually, now I'm mature, Saturn, I'm a grown-up, I'm an adult, and it's time for me to take responsibility for how much influence this core programming has on my life. And if there's a change that needs to be made, now is a really great time to make that change with the new moon, okay? You can say, okay, yeah, there is a part of me inside that feels unnurtured and unloved and uncared for. And the only way I'm ever going to recognize that part of myself is if I feel it, if I experience it. So please don't gloss over any hard feelings you have today and say, oh, I don't want to go there. Because all we're doing, that's a form of self-abandonment. And that's very much what Saturn can do. It can put up a boundary, it can put up a blockage, it can create distance. You know, and we need to actually take, we can channel the Saturn in a different way by taking responsibility and saying, yes, this part of my inner child is crying. It's wanting some nurturing, it's wanting some care and attention. And now it's my responsibility to do that. I'm the adult, I need to reparent myself. And we don't ignore a child. When a child comes to us crying, we don't, well, I hope we don't say, you know, oh, man up, get on with it, you know, I don't want to hear you're crying. I don't want to have to be drawn into the upset, you know, that would be really, really harsh. That wouldn't be good parenting. And so we need to not do that with ourselves as well. So when a part of us is crying, we need to not say those things to ourselves as well. So it's a really helpful tool to me is to consider parenting the self in the same way that you might parent a child, and understanding the self as, you know, as the child, because we're all carrying this inner child around within us. And this is everything that Cancer is about. And how we do this within ourselves then reflects upon all of society out there in Capricorn, right? You know, the adults that are created within the home space, how they are parented, then go out into the big wide world and create society. So if we are to create a new society that is more healthy, better in some way, because presumably that's what we're all trying to do, then we need to get the inner work a little bit more Yeah, we just need to a little bit more emphasis on doing the inner work. And when we get that right, it will show up in the outer world. So the more people that can do that, the better. So please don't ignore any tough feelings that you have today, any challenges to your parenting may show up, and this also might be reflective in the outer world of something that needs addressing in the inner world in terms of how you parent yourself. So just give some consideration to that and see how that is showing up. But it's a really wonderful new start. And it's a start that encompasses an end, as all starts and endings do. This is a cycle, you know, it's never linear. All right, so the beginning is an end and vice versa. So it's a really, really wonderful, wonderful new moon. And the key words there are getting real about how we feel and not glossing over things, taking responsibility and ownership for reparenting ourselves so that we can be the best possible kinds of adults that make the world a better place. Okay, so yeah, just looking at that installation of the software program from our upbringing, saying, oh, okay, well, I like this aspects of that program, that software program. My hardware is running, software, hardware, but there are some upgrades that I'd like to make now, little changes. So have a think about that. 6 p.m. here in the UK today is the exact point of that new moon. If you can involve water in the process, that's wonderful. Moon energy is silver, anything silvery, and pearl. So if you can wear pearls like I'm doing today, or some moonstone, get yourself to the sea or to a river and almost go through a rebirth, like a christening or a rebirthing process with the water, even if it's just your shower or a salt bath, something like that, and just actually use the water to facilitate rinsing away the old and preparing yourself for the new, and really try and carve out some time to be with yourself, be with your inner child and listen. You know, the new moon is the time of the month when, you know, we really have to go within and listen to the self, listen to what's going on inside. Part of the reason why I don't really recommend that we do ceremony, etc., around the new moon, because we have to get out of our own way and just be quiet and still and in retreat and solitude and listen. And we can't do that if we're all kind of engaged in you know, in ceremonial things. But ceremonially, a cleansing prior to the new moon is a great thing. So moving on then to Tuesday, the 21st of July, we will have now the sun at the very, very last degree of Cancer, 29 degrees of Cancer, an anaretic degree, as it's known, so a very potent degree. And I think what this is going to do is it's going to kind of extend the feel of this new moon that little bit longer, as we are literally bringing the journey of the sun through the sign of Cancer to a close that day as well. So a continuation of these themes around endings. We've had eclipse season in Cancer for 2 years. We've just had the Mercury retrograde in Cancer. We've even had the comet Neowise moving through Cancer. So there's been such a lot of our attention has been drawn to Cancer and whatever house in your chart Cancer occupies. So this is, you know, the sun is saying, okay, these are the last moments there before it moves on. And talking about Mercury, as Mercury is in the post-shadow phase of his retrograde. So the retrograde essentially isn't quite over. The second part of when he's traveling in retrograde motion, or appears to be in retrograde motion, that's finished. He is direct, but he's not quite gone, retraced the steps. So we're in the third and final part of that process. And he's going to make a really important connection on Tuesday. And Tuesday is Mars's day, which is quite relevant. So last weekend, we had a lot of tension around, and this was due to, if you watched my previous forecast, you'll know that I talked about the Mars-Chiron conjunction. So Mars and Chiron came together during the last quarter square aspect of the current moon cycle that we're in. So that crisis point, that real tense point. So there may have been a lot of energy around that you experienced sort of 8 or 9 days ago with regards to people being very triggered, their core wounds being very, very triggered, and it really, really showing up as an internal tension that may have been projected outwardly due to the connection of the moon. So what's going on Tuesday then is that with Mercury now going direct and just completing this, essentially what Mercury is doing is refining down our understanding of what's been going on in Cancer, helping us to connect head and heart, or bring some more rationality to the emotions that we've had, or at least understand them or try to understand them. So analyzing them and working it through and thinking about it and talking about it with friends or with people that we really care about, to be able to hold space for everything that we are, and not just the ego or the superficial aspect of self. Really, really great thing to do at this time. So Mercury is going to square us back to Chiron on Tuesday. That once more is just going to give us another dose of, are we really done here? Is there a little bit more work that needs to take place? Is there still a part of me that needs my attention in terms of my emotional healing, my core healing? And the square here could help us to recognize that. If we're looking for it, this is the thing. It could just come up as, difficult conversations, challenging conversations, a slight kind of echo, if you like, of the what went down sort of 8 or 9 days ago with the Chiron-Mars conjunction. So if you're getting echoes of that, have some time going within. Really, the square is like an internal tension, but it is asking you to take some action. It's saying, I need you to do something about this. I'm getting your attention for a purpose. It's not just to make you, feel irritated. So do something with it. It's an active energy. Both of these signs, Aries and Cancer, are cardinal signs. They're saying, let's do something about this. So watch out for that on Tuesday. Watch out for those echoes of the Chiron wound, because they're definitely going to be around. But they are showing us that they're presenting us with the opportunity to sort of understand what healing needs to take place there, if something else still needs to be done. And we can really work with that as the week progresses. On Wednesday then, Wednesday the 22nd of July, we have the Sun ingress into Leo. Hooray! The Sun comes home, the Sun rules the sign of Leo, so sun shines so bright. It's the fun time of the year. It's the time of the year when we all want to play and go to the beach and have fun. The best birthday parties happen for the next month, so happy birthday. Many happy returns to all the Leos out there, and the sun is going to shine on this part of your chart. So where is Leo? Where can we bring more creativity to? Where can we have more joy in our life? This is where the sun is going to be helping warm us through a little bit. Also on this day, we have a really helpful connection. If there has been any of those echoes of the core wound with Mercury and Chiron on the Tuesday, on the Wednesday, then we get a really helpful aspect, a sextile aspect this time. Again with Mercury, and we've had a couple of these already, but this is kind of the final one. Mercury sextiling Uranus in Taurus. This is the energy of breakthroughs. This is the energy of unexpected, surprising communications, potentially. that usually are welcomed, you know, usually good things, or things that we would like. Shouldn't really call it good. But yeah, this is breakthrough energy. This is breakthrough in understanding. So where we've done some of that work with our healing, where we've done some of the work in understanding the conditioning of our family background, of our history, of the old story that we're living, the blood that's running through our veins in so many ways, and all of the influences that have gone into that. You know, our DNA runs back so far, and we're carrying so much history in who we are right now. The understanding of all of this that we've been working with Cancer, we can have a real breakthrough moment, this lightning strike of, oh, that makes so much sense, you know, and that can really support us in terms of progress. Uranus is all about the new, the exciting, the different. It doesn't want things to be how they've always been done. It wants to bring a streak of maverick, a streak of newness, a streak of progression into things. So I love that this is taking place after a new moon. It's really supporting those new intentions, the seeds that we're planting around this time, and saying, you know, I'm done with that. I've cast away the old stuff. Now let's start moving into the new, and let's have a breakthrough. Let's really make some progress. So look out for unexpected breakthroughs in understanding, exciting conversations or messages that you might receive at this time that can just give you a sign about your future or support your future in some way. On Thursday then, moving a little bit further ahead, so by this time the moon now in Mercury ruled Virgo, so helping us keep this vibe of Mercury and all that he offers, be that in terms of mind and mouth. You know, that's pretty much what Mercury is all about, our minds and our mouth, but also healing. And we often forget that there is this hermetic side of Mercury, and particularly through the sign of Virgo, he's all about making, cleansing, purifying, and really getting down to the finer detail, you know, real, the absolute detail. These Virgo people tend to have a huge amount of attention to detail. So with the moon being here, moon on this day is actually going to create a lovely trine aspect over to fellow earth sign Taurus, okay, which means over to Uranus. So we're going to have this lovely supportive, so the conversation that Mercury has been having with Uranus here, if we just connect it all up, works with this lovely triangle of potential. So we've got two sextiles and a trine. So really supportive energy here, connecting the moon and Mercury and Uranus. So you can see how following the progress of the moon through her journey is helping us to build, and she's growing now, she's waxing, you know, she's starting to gather strength and have greater influence on us, the more of the sun's light that she reflects at us through the lens of Hermes, of Mercury. So we have this wonderful opportunity, therefore, on Thursday. That opportunity is saying these new moon intentions that we've set, how do we get that down to the finer detail? We may have had this breakthrough in understanding the previous day. So how do we create a system? How do we create the exact precise steps of how that's going to look? All right, how do we take the big idea and just refine it down into something more practical and understandable? So it's really getting organized and creating our method of moving forward. That's really how I'm seeing this connection here. Beautiful opportunity, I'm really loving it. And that will continue deeper into the week as we move into Friday. And this time the moon, as she continues her journey through the sign of Virgo, waxing as she is, she's building into a connection with Jupiter, who is up here in fellow earth sign Capricorn. Okay, so we've got this lovely trine aspect again, and that trine is just an easy flow. That's all it means. It's not good, it's not bad. All a trine is saying this planet and this planet can very easily reach each other. The influence can combine and communicate really flowingly. We don't need to put any effort into assisting this. All right, so and Jupiter, again, very much like Uranus, is all about the future. It's about, you know, the optimism, the focus on where it is that we're going, and how we can make that something that allows us to grow and expand, you know, and experience more joy and abundance in our life. So I'm loving this connection that we have. On the back of that, we also have a sextile that's building between Jupiter and Neptune, and these guys are the two rulers of the sign Pisces. Okay, so this is going to tap us back into some of that Piscean energy again. These guys, Jupiter, Neptune, are going to be applying into this aspect. That just means it's coming together. So this is a really great time to sort of jump on board the wave. It's like surfing, you know, you don't jump onto the wave when it's, you know, right at the peak and it's crashing. So that would be when the aspect between these two planets is perfect. We don't want to jump on it then. That's kind of, it's done then, really, essentially, isn't it? We want to get it as it's building. All right. So this is when we start to tap into it. I would suggest on Friday when the moon's in moving through Virgo and then into Libra. Excuse me. So as we move through the weekend, then we will have the moon in Libra, Venus ruled sign, all about balance. And balance is something that we need to, I would strongly recommend we really tap into as we move into next weekend, because essentially this is the last week or the last few days even that we're going to have before we really start to jump into the energy of Mars. So if you've watched my Mars retrograde special video, you will understand that the second half of 2020 really is going to be dominated by Mars's retrograde through the sign of Aries and the square aspects that he's going to be making up to the planets in Capricorn. And that process is set to start this Sunday when Mars enters shadow. So as we're approaching this aspect that's going to be very, very dominant, I would recommend that we tap into the moon in Libra with this applying Jupiter-Neptune aspect. And what my recommendation is that I've kind of summarized this morning is that we need to be looking for opportunities. That's Jupiter. Jupiter creates opportunities. So we're looking for opportunities to review and rebalance. So Jupiter and Neptune are both retrograde. So this is having a look at things again, reviewing things, you know, redoing things. Retrograde is always reviewing and rebalancing. This is the Libra influence. Looking for opportunities to review and rebalance your beliefs, faiths, ideologies, and personal philosophies in light of looking at both sides. So Jupiter and Neptune both have these similar energies of dealing with what our beliefs are, what our faith systems are, what we put our trust in, And of course, you know, a big part of 2020 has exposed that there is a fundamental lack of trust out there. You know, there isn't space for conspiracy theories, for example. If everyone is on board and fully trusting in our leaders, you know, Jupiter is our leaders. Okay, it's the people at the top, the kings of our society. And you know, I think the collection of Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter has exposed, you know, the abuse of power, the corruption. It's exposed a lot of the dark side of a lot of our, and this is certainly something that I've witnessed even within the astrological community this week. You know, exposing the weaknesses within the people that we hold in high esteem, within our leaders, within our gurus and our mentors. You know, who are our idols? You know, who are the role models of our society? I can't think of very many that are, you know, really, really earning that space. So we're moving through a time of having this kind of disillusionment. This is where Neptune comes in. Neptune retrograde in hard aspects as well can really show us where, oh, you know, actually the rose-tinted glasses have been pulled off, and oh yeah, it doesn't look so great after all. So disillusionment is part of allowing us to refine and change and rebalance and review our belief systems, what we put our faith in, what we put our trust in. But it's going to be really, really important to not just get sucked down the rabbit hole of just focusing on everything that is wrong. Okay, yeah, it's pretty obvious that there's a lot that's wrong, but so what do we focus on creating to move into that space? You know, how do we become our own role model? How do we become our own idol, you know, our own mentor, our own leader, our own guru? Because actually they're not really out there. You know, we're being disillusioned about them, so we've got to start to become that for ourselves. And I think this will then grow the next generation of leaders, of mentors, of people that, you know, we can learn from in a good way, and we can expand from. We can, you know, gain greater wisdom and meaning, and that's what Jupiter and Neptune are all about. So as we move through the weekend, really look for those opportunities. Look for the opportunities to rebalance and review your beliefs and philosophies, where you've put your faith, where you've put your trust, and looking at it from a very balanced point of view, not being so polarized, holding space for everything that is, because we can learn from everything. And I think that's going to stand us in really good stead, because as I say, on Sunday then, Mars will move into shadow, and this is going to start a process where there isn't going to be a lot of balance around out there, I'm afraid. There's going to be a lot of me. Aries is the me, it's the I, it's the I, me, my, essentially. With Mars, they're doing the retrograde thing and creating a lot of tension and conflict. There's not going to be a whole heap of calm and balance and looking at things from both sides. So do that now, and that will hopefully sort of pave the way for moving into the Mars retrograde with greater wisdom and greater maturity. You know, this is what Saturn and Capricorn's all about. It's about being a grown-up, essentially. So the key words for this new moon then are getting real about how we feel, and how therefore we are going to reparent ourselves, change that software program that's running in the background. Hope this has been useful for you. As always, I would really appreciate your support if my videos support you in some way, support your growth, support your journey, please give me a like, a love, a share, drop me a comment, tell me what are the things that you're going to be changing around how you parent yourself. And as always, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you can. I'll be putting these out weekly as I always do, but also I'm going to be, I have plans to put out a feature video soon on working with Jupiter and Saturn, because they are important planets and they're going to become very important, even more so important in a few months' time. So watch space for that one too. Have a beautiful new moon. Lots of love and thanks for watching. Bye for now.